Greetings, everyone. We are Scorch. We'll just go right into it. Now, if you pay attention to your environment, there's something that is prevalent everywhere. It seems like the things that happen in small places are equivalent to the things that happen in big places, like they say, or so philosophers say, as above, so below. But what we like to call it is as in the micro, so the macro, as in the macro, so the micro, which means that what's in big places are also the same things that are in small places. If you check the atomic structure of every object or substance, you will notice that there's something familiar about the structure of an atomic particle. It resembles the solar system. And the sense of the solar system as you have it, the sun will be the nucleus and the planets around it will be the electron and the protons, and this is how it is. So if you pay attention to how things operate in small places, you'll be able to navigate the dynamics of, macro. Now, where we're heading to, you just need to know this background. People in the medical field have already observed things and how cells behave. Cells also have the same function than their atomic structures. Now, if you observe the cell, there's something called cellular mitosis. And during the cellular mitosis, that's when cells divide. And if you observe, like a pregnant woman, what animates the child before it gets to an embryo, the cells start from the egg and the spermatozoa, and everything connects, and gradually over time, it begins to evolve to the child. But the early stages of that evolution consist of the cells dividing. One cell divides and divides until you get the point until the entire human structures develop. Now, back to the background of, as in the macro, the micro. Could it be that the solar system behaves in the same way? That after a while, it divides. Yes, it does. And we're coming to that stage in the evolution of humans in the solar system where the planets are shifting. If you've observed, you can see that the planet is shifting. A whole lot of changes happening around, and even scientists are not aware of that because humans don't know much about the environment. They've just been busy fighting, disturbing everyone, extorting, and doing all these silly games, not understanding that there's a reason why we're all here existing and experiencing this reality. And that reason is something the humans haven't even started, thinking about. But there are over 7 billion people on the planet. You can expect that everyone just fell for that whole myopic shenanigans. So there are few of us, there are few people out here on the planet who are aware of the evolution of the planet and of humans as well. But that's another story. Now let's get to today's story. Yes, the planet is about to divide, and this is what your biblical record have as the revolution and the rapture and all this whole crazy stuff that humans once again have reduced it to some kind of battle between angels and demons. Like, it's just stupid. Because what people are not understanding is that the evolution is going to happen with or without humans' assistance, without human support, it's a planetary mitosis. And humans are going along with the ride, you see. And then what happens here is, once the planet divides, there will be those who have certain level of protonic energies within them will join the other part of the planet, that is the new Earth. And yes, I have been there. Been to both planets. We've been to the new Earth and we've been to the old Earth. And that's a different story. It's a whole lot of mix in this because time is not what humans think it is. Humans have this idea that we're experiencing one linear reality. We're just heading on one straight line and this is life and this starts here and ends here, you die and all that whole shit. That's bullshit. We're multidimensional beings existing and experiencing multiple dimensions based on the level of awareness or acceptance, devotion in that sense of discipline, or the mere willingness or will to partake in the highest state of existence. Now, before we get back to the planetary mitosis, what humans don't understand about density is that this is the third dimension, which is simply a matrix, a reflection of the higher dimension. And we've been there before as well. The whole planet, the whole three-dimensional construct is like a bubble within a bubble. Now, everything is constructed on 5 density, and the reflection of that construct is what gives birth to this 3D reality that we experience and we call physical reality. And if you observe in the scientific speculation or theory, you realize that the entire universe is made up of just like 10% matter, the rest is ethereal. That means things that you cannot see with your naked eyes. So going into that aspect of things that you can't see with your naked eyes are things that are around us. Space is not empty. When you put the water in boiling water and you notice that the vapor evaporates, that's the same water changing its density, getting into a higher density that's going out of our visible light spectrum, so the human eyes can't see. But that doesn't mean that the water just disappeared. No, it's still there, evaporating into thin air, and then it goes out of the visible light spectrum so the human eyes cannot see it. But that doesn't mean it's not there. If you could see reality like your system or your computer on your screen, and you could zoom and you zoom into the space, you will be able to still see the fractals of that evaporation. You'll be able to see the vacuum. You'll be able to see everything in that tiny space. If you could zoom into reality, you would see the frequency, you will see gravity, you will see the wave of your electric current in your telephone network and all that whole bizarre stuff that seems strange. But the reason the humans can't see it, that is beyond the visible light spectrum. But when you're in 5D, you can see everything. You can see the colors of gravity, you can see the lights, you can see a whole lot of things, and then you can manipulate it. But humans are not evolving themselves down to or higher, back to where they're coming from, because all humans are by nature 5 density beings. That's why we have 5 fingers, and those in 4 dimension have 4 fingers. If you notice, the animals, they have about 3 and just the hinge of the finger there, the thumb. So that's a pointer to tell humans that whatever is going on around the planet is all due to ignorance. If humans knew any better, they wouldn't even be going around whatever they're doing. The reason the humans don't know better is because they fell from this high state of awareness to a point where, 4-dimensional creature can enslave them and put them into a bubble and just start, recycling their experience and use them as slaves and whatever this whole story is. And that's not the issue. Neither is that the solution. The situation that we're faced with is lack of intelligence in the human society. That's simply what it is. It's no Illuminati doing all this whole shit and fucking your shit up. It's not the government fucking your shit up. The problem with the world is you, and the solution for that problem is you. Because where's the world? Wherever you are, that's where the world is. Wherever you are, that's where life is. Life isn't happening outside where you are. This is not your life. Your life is happening where you are. So whatever you don't like in your existence, you have the power to control and change it. But humans victimize themselves, and they've given their control, the power to some thing outside them, and they don't understand that that's what they've done. If you pay attention back to how we got to this construct, you realize that humans have been taught to live life a certain way, and everything they're acting is against their best interest. So they're not acting in your best interest, they're acting against your best interest, not understanding that they're sabotaging themselves because they don't know any better. Well, for instance, when ladies are growing up, they tell them don't speak too much. Oh, you have to act like a lady, you have to do that, which then gives them this split in their consciousness. They repress who they really are, because if they have to express who they really are to the society or in public, people are going to judge them, and to avoid being judged, they have to limit themselves and put themselves in this tiny box. And when they grow older into an adult with that same belief system, they grow up with insecurity and all this whole stuff that, if you notice now, women are fighting back against that. We're not living for this man. We're not going to be following the whole direction from men, because men can understand the dynamics of the human woman. Because there's a whole lot of mix up here. Women are the primary... That's not a story, but women are more advanced. That's why there's the reason why they have to suppress them, and women are the ones suppressing themselves. No one is doing this to you. You just need to wake up and draw a web, drop all that whole things that plain small shenanigans that, oh, I don't want people to think of me this way. I don't want that person to say that about me. You just shouldn't give a fuck anymore. Because why? You're a queen. And you have to start acting like one. And I've also been taught to act against their own best interests, not to show emotions. Don't say I love you. Don't act all that. Don't be emotional, because that doesn't make you a man. Creating this toxic masculinity that humans are now starting to evolve out of. Now, all this whole stuff, all this repressive behavior are things that are stopping the human from evolving their consciousness. So you need to get that out of the way first in order to give yourself the opportunity to evolve. Now let's move right back to the cellular mitosis and back to the planetary mitosis. Yes, we have been to both planets. We'll explain that another time. But what's important right now is you deciding where you would like to be. Would you like to be on the old Earth, the same environment that you're used to, filled with more toxic people, or you would like to evolve or ascend to a higher density, to the new Earth, and experience reality on a whole nother level? Yeah, gravity reacts different there. It's so beautiful. It's so freaking beautiful that being on Earth here at this moment kind of sucks. But we know why we're here, so we're having fun with it, knowing that we have to try and see if we can, raise more humans up in their level of consciousness and awareness so they can be eligible to make it into the new Earth. Because it's all about frequencies. It's not something that perhaps say God doesn't want you into heaven or whatever it is. Neither is it in heaven. It's just a much better place than where we are today. Now, when in the new Earth, what I noticed when I visited the old Earth was that I could see the new Earth up. And people in the third dimension, which is the old Earth. So let's just use third dimension to describe the old Earth, and 5D to describe the new Earth, which latently is 4D, and this is hold your thoughts, just hold it. Now, I visited the old Earth, 3D Earth, and you notice there's like a tractor beam. That's this kind of light that when you go under the light, it sucks you up. So I came down to the old Earth. It was a mess, bruh. Fucking mess. It was so nasty. What humans, you guys, oh freaking hell, bruh. I couldn't stay there too long. I just wanted to go back to 5D. And the people in 3D didn't even understand, they couldn't see the 4D planet, the 5-dimension planet. They couldn't see the new Earth. And I could see it up when I look up. It's not even far away from the old Earth. The new Earth is not far away from the old Earth. It's almost like the moon and the Earth. I'm talking about the moon. The moon will be gone in 3 years' time. There will be no moon soon. You'll see that the moon is an artificial construct. But that's not the point now. The point is you deciding where you want to be, where do you want to live your remaining existence in, and your reincarnating existence in. What vibration from a frequency do you want to reincarnate under? What world do you want to live in? Do you want to maintain living in the old Earth with all dysfunctional people? Because the universe is all inclusive. There's nowhere to put anything. Everything is everything, and it's inside everything. So those people who are dysfunctional are not just going to be crushed or destroyed or sent to the central sun to burn. Perhaps. But that's not the case. The case is many of you are not those people who should live in the old Earth. Many of you deserve to be in the new Earth. And this is the reason why I'm making this video. This is the reason why all this is going on. This is the reason why many things will continue. Because it's hard to get humans to see what's in their best interest, because they have been raised to act against the best interest all their life. You check their belief system, it's dysfunctional. You check the way they live, it's dysfunctional. Their diet is dysfunctional. The things they absorb is dysfunctional. Everything is dysfunctional. So they're suppressing their higher genes, their higher consciousness, their higher everything, anything that just makes the human better, or the things that humans are pushing away. Look at your environment, beloved. What do humans eat? What do humans do? What do humans give their attentions to? What are humans going all around doing? What are they living for? Is anyone living for? Well, this should be general knowledge, but nobody want to hear it. If people were to say, "Oh, church is delusional," talking about Earth splitting to Earth, how is that possible? Blah blah blah. You're making a choice, beloved. If you don't want to make it to the new earth, it's fine. It's not a mandate. This is not all this your religious narrative that they say, oh, if you don't do this, you... No, that's not the case. The case is enjoying your existence, because life is supposed to be fun and not all this whole bickering and... Now, seeing the old earth, it was so nasty. People were living in zinc. There were a whole lot of beautiful people. Many of you here, many of you looking beautiful on this reality, present day reality, didn't even know that you used to live in this existence with a fine couch, a nice bed, a house, and all this whole stuff. To find humans living in zinc, without water to drink, and children starving, and you have some people who are, acting like they are the... It's just a worse scenario from what you have currently today. And I really don't want anyone to experience that. It doesn't even matter who you are. Like, the only way to make it to New Earth is to evolve your consciousness, period. Because it's something that's selected by aura. Your auric field is what determines what planets you will go to. Many other people are not even going to make it to the old earth. They will be sent elsewhere because of how dysfunctional they are. And those people, perhaps they have it coming. How do they react to angelic shenanigans? How do they react to higher dimensional conversation? You call that trash, and guess where you end up? Trash. It's hurtful, especially knowing how beautiful the new earth is. Like, everyone deserves to be there. And the fact that most people will take everything that we have shared now as something that's, it's not important, just telling about where the choice people are making. I saw a lot of beautiful people living in zinc. They couldn't even remember anything about the previous life, and they were just... It's sad. It's really sad. Like, it's so fucked up. Another time I went to the journey, there were a whole lot of people who were kept as slave, to the point that one little girl saw me, and I asked her, what year is this? I think she said 20 something, 20, basically 20 something, 20, 30 something, it doesn't matter. And when she saw me, before she answered my question, she said I should put the dust on my lips because my lips look red. I don't let them see you have red lips. So in a way, it seemed like if you had red lips or you have some life in you, there are those who saw that as something to take out of you. And there were people outside under the sun with some kind of marks over their head, and they were kneeling down under the sun with a polythene bag, black nylon bag over their head, so they really can't breathe. And once in a while, someone pours them water to cool their temperature down, and that's where they stay. And I was looking at all this whole shit like, what the fuck, bruh? It was nasty. And this is the old earth. This is the reality that many people are going to end up in, because most people don't understand that there are four-dimensional entities who are existing in the same density with humans, and they are the ones, manipulating things and having their way, just because humans are not smart enough to tell the difference between beautiful and not beautiful. Now, shift that aside, because that's a bit French. Now, let's go back to the scientific bias behind this stuff now. You see, when cells, let's speak about, so you can ask your medical people, you can ask anybody in the medical field, and they will explain this to you. Cells spin. There's a spin between inside, like a vibration. It's spinning. Think about it that way. When it spins anti-clockwise, it creates poison. That's when things decay. That's when things get rotten. Then when it spins clockwise, it produces light. That's when things evolve. That's when fruit gets ripe. That's the energy that powers everything to be functioning beautifully. That's why if you notice, scary entities look scary. I don't know how to explain it, but bad people look ugly. Good people look pretty. Something like that. Something like that. But there's no right or wrong, there's no bad or good. It's just that the cells are spinning backwards. So when you're spinning backwards, you're creating poison. When you're spinning forward, you're creating light. And if you could check the way humans in the cell in the womb of a woman, when the cells are being charged with the life force, you notice that there's some flashes of light in the cells. Ask a medical person, they understand this. The cells create light when it's functioning in the right direction, when it's spinning in the right direction. When it's not spinning in the right direction, it creates poison. That's why things get rotten. So think about it. Humans have been spinning their consciousness and their cellular structure anti-clockwise, which is making them grow old, which is causing the wrinkle because they're decaying. And humans call this aging, but they found a way to label the dysfunction as something that's normal. Meanwhile, it's fucking abnormal. Humans aren't supposed to age the way they are. If you check your biblical record, you could notice that humans were living for over 300 years to 600 years. But now suddenly 70 years is too old. And now you have a lot of old people, very dysfunctional intellect. Every fucking way making a mess of the environment, not understanding that the fountain of youth exists. They're all just chasing crap, chasing trash. Yeah. So aging is not a thing that occurs because you're passing time, because time really doesn't exist. Aging is a thing that occurs because your cells aren't functioning the way they ought to. That's why your telomeres are not getting the cap to cover your telomeres. You have the The telomeres are the things that covers your cell once the cell divide. So when your cell divide and there's no protective cover around them, they age quick or they decay quick. But the telomeres are the things that give a protective cover around the cells when they divide. So once cells are dividing, often during your existence or the course of your life, the telomeres are supposed to cover it. And what happens is that young people have a lot of telomeres to cover their cells when they divide. Until a certain age, there's now a decline in the generation of the telomeres to cover the cells once they divide, which then causes them to age. And the function of that is a dysfunction. It's not something that is normal. You're aging, there's something wrong. Now, understanding that everything spins, there's a vibration, everything spins. It depends on the direction where it's spinning to. If it's spinning anti-clockwise, it's creating poison. If it's spinning clockwise, it's creating light. Now, you need to get your cells to start spinning the right way. And in order to do that, there are some practices and some exercises, some disciplines, some postulations, some things that you have to do, which is living the right way in any ways if we have to break it down. However, there is no right or wrong. You have free will to decide how you want to live your life, but you will not make it into the new earth unless you evolve your consciousness. I'm not happy seeing a whole lot of people suffering, especially on this planet now, and then continue to suffer in the old earth simply because you just didn't listen, simply because you felt that something like this is just too strange for you to bear. What makes sense to you in the world? Eating animals, does that make any sense to you? Believing in a judgmental God, does that make any freaking sense to you? Saying sex is evil and putting all this whole judgmental biases on things that are normal human functions, like, oh, because someone has some kind of, well, I say multidimensional aspect about them, the human call that a disorder because someone can feel hot and cold. You think that's a disorder. Meanwhile, that ought to be a superpower, because understand, autistic children, autistic people are not stupid. They're very, very intelligent. They understand life better in a way that humans don't. And they are an introduction to the next level of the evolutionary state of humans. But humans aren't treating them right because they've labeled them as dysfunctional, as a disorder. Meanwhile, y'all are the ones who are dysfunctional. I'm going to tell it to you right straight up, because the fact about the matter is that if upon hearing this video and upon listening to everything we've shared and you change your life, you'll be grateful for it. Not even to me, but to your own self, for giving yourself the gift to evolve your consciousness. And that is just the beginning, because there's a new earth waiting and humans are running out of time. And that's really the reason why Trace is sharing this video. We lost a lot of time now, so There are many things that we haven't shared yet. This is just like the background message behind it, because eventually, gradually, we'll be adding more bits into this puzzle. But for review, yes, there's something called a planetary mitosis. That's when the planets divide. And when the protonic energy comes, it's going to shift the planet from, like you have protons have different kinds. There's if you check the atomic structure, there's a blue proton and there's a yellow proton, whatever, something like that. So once the proton divides, those who have high protonic energies will be on a different Earth. That's the new Earth. Those who don't will be on the old Earth, and that's a war zone. Really, it is. It's fucked up. And yeah, the reason we went through the old Earth was to assist them there, because so crazy, bruh. Crazy. Like you wake up in the morning now, the next thing you're seeing is a guy fucking a goat. And everybody think about that shit like it's normal. Then you take a walk and everyone is just eating rats. And they think it's normal. And there are people that are not really humans who will exist in there. So you have something like a monkey man jumping up and around and, killing people, and people are just walking by their dead bodies. This is the old Earth, and this is where the present day reality is shifting to. Once this planet divide, it's going to be like there are some intelligent people on the other side, and there are some people who are just bound to be ignorant on the other side. And the old Earth, they really isn't. It's nothing fun there. Absolutely nothing. It's way worse than what you're experiencing in this 3D reality. So it's really important that everyone wake up, and everyone's have a different process. There are different processes to use, different postulations to use, following from the narrative of the vibration of cells. This is why crystals are advised for people on the beginning stages, because crystals are vibrating. They are not really physical. They are still in their vibratory state there. However, they are able to solidify in third density, but they still have a higher density function about them. They are conscious. It's like a consciousness. Minerals are like one-dimensional state of consciousness. So with the crystals, because they have this direct vibratory resonance about them, so they are not. You cannot, fuck up their vibration. They are always there. They're absolute in that vibration, and that follows with your energy centers. What happens is that most humans have their energy centers spinning backwards. You have the one is left, one is right. It all should align. There should be an alignment with your energy centers, which goes into the middle of your body. You can feel it. It goes all the way down to your torsos, all the way up and above. So once your energy centers aren't spinning in the right direction, you can use a crystal upon them to make the crystal, kickstart it to come into alignment. Because what happens generally, relativity in everything, even in science, is that where there's something that's happening more of, and you bring another energy, it's going to copy that there. For instance, eggs. You have a spoiled egg in one point. You put a good egg near there, it's going to join the majority that are spoiled. So if you have a society filled with more dysfunctional people, and you bring someone who really isn't that dysfunctional, and you put that person in the midst of those dysfunctional circle, they're going to corrupt that person, because the majority always influence the minority. But if you have an evolved state of consciousness, it doesn't matter how many rotten eggs are around you. You're in alignment with who you are. Now, that's the early stages of the evolution, which then gives you the ability to evolve your spiritual self. And that evolution of your spiritual self is what's going to give you access into the higher density. Because like I said, with the vapor and the boiling water, when you zoom and the vapor of the water that you're boiling evaporates, it's still there, but it goes out of the visible light spectrum, which means you are able to access the visible light spectrum when you give yourself the ability to harness that frequency. If you're not of that frequency, you cannot get there. Similar energies attract, yeah? So if you're of a vibratory resonance with any energy, you're going to attract that energy. If you're a vibratory resonance or a frequency match to stupidity, you are going to join stupid people and attract stupid people in your life. If you're a vibratory match to the frequency of enlightenment, you'll find yourself just attracting enlightened people. So it's what you allow that continues. People think that they have to fight the energies outside them, not understanding that they have to change themselves first in order to change the world around them. That's why we're telling you that it all starts with you. So is there a problem with the world? Is there a problem with you? That should be the question. There'll be more after this, and there are many things that were left out, but we'll be back. This is just the beginning. We want this to be like general knowledge. More people should understand this thing, and we can explain further. But until then, all is love, and love is your essence. Be well. We love you all. Namaste.